Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another segment of Asaph Cafe. This show is always so fun. I feel so blessed to be able to do this show. And in this edition of Asaph Cafe, on my immediate left, we have Sean. Sean is sitting in with us today, and we're going to have fun with him. And, of course, one of our regulars, Linda Brooks Curtis, the lovely Linda Brooks Curtis, she's here. And between Linda and myself, we just want you to make yourself at home. And I'm going to just play a tune and tell me if you know this tune, okay?
Secret Agent Man.
I am going to go with her.
Secret Agent Man.
You know the song?
I'm just going to go with her answer.
I really like this. It was a television show theme.
It was called Secret Agent Man.
That's what I said.
I would guess.
McEwen.
It sounded like to me like a Secret Agent song, like something that would be along
tremendous. I love that show. I was in high school then.
Wow.
There we go, and now we've opened our program with that song that's called Secret Agent Man. Actually, that's an old black and white television show that goes way before your time.
I can guess that, and that's why I was like, I could tell by the theming of the music that it's something to do with some kind of undercover secret thing.
Well, I'll tell you the history of that song. A musician named Johnny Rivers made it famous. He was a professional guitarist, and he introduced that song. And they used that theme song on an old TV show called Secret Agent Man. It was a black and white TV show, and it wasn't as fancy as James Bond, obviously, at that time. This was way back, like the 1960s, right, Linda? I think.
Definitely, it was 1966.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Have you ever seen that show?
No, I haven't. I'll have to go do some.
Yeah, it's just Secret Agent Man. It's just kind of corny by today's standards, you know, the gadgets and stuff.
Where is my little dog gone?
I find 95% of these songs are probably way before my generation.
That's a children's song.
That's what I'm saying. 95% of these songs probably are from before my time.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of these songs are before your time. Let's try this one, see if you know this one. I've been working on it. David Bowie's Let's Dance.
I'm probably gotta catch up on my my oldies.
Well, that's
That's
not really a piano song. It's more of a rock and roll song. So I just kind of made that version. Singing guitar. Yeah. You're familiar with David Bowie?
Not really. I'm more today's generation.
What kind of music do you like?
Oh goodness, I don't know him offhand.
Are there any particular artists you like? You have a favorite singer? Or,
let me see what's the one that I've been listening to. I have to sort of go to I don't remember names offhand.
Okay, sure, you can look him up, and I'll just play in the background while you look him up or her up.
The artist up.
Okay.
I just gotta. There's a.
Well, Sean, you don't have to feel like an outsider. Because. I first paid taxes in 1966, which tells you a little bit about how old I am. And at the time that most of the guests on this show are focusing on, when they were watching television all the time and into the current music, I was out earning a living. So I wasn't into what the songs that they knew. So I was out of it too.
That's
Don't feel excluded.
Yeah, just make yourself at home, Sean.
I've been sort of listening. My music is a mixture of pop, different, like it's a mixture.
Okay.
It's just one of the current songs I've been obsessed with. It's by another YouTuber.
Okay.
Life Through a Lens.
Wow.
So it's
Well,
Jackson Harris.
I'm gonna stop on that chord. That's the new style that's out, isn't it? Music on YouTube, is that it?
No, this is like that's where, like, for example, Justin Bieber was found on YouTube.
Oh, I see. So you're always looking up current artists on YouTube, is that
Or
it?
just like artists that sort of caught my eye through like other YouTubers. Like this one was, they had a show. He did a music video including
Chariots of Fire.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
That's what I do.
Well, he's a younger
If I
person,
want to
so
hear,
I guess that's the style.
I want to find a piece of music. I look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, well,
or
that's
if I
what
want
Sean
to hear
does,
what
a
group
new
sounds
artist,
like,
right?
I look it up on YouTube.
Like-
Yeah, you look up new artists and stuff and new bands on
There's
YouTube.
I've been listening to Life Through a Lens
Okay.
by Jackson Harris,
Uh-huh.
and I've been obsessed with Hero by Juliet Ridgway.
Uh-huh.
She's an upcoming artist that's sort of newer to the music industry.
Uh-huh.
It's an intro.
Mañana. Mañana.
This is called Mañana.
Mañana is soon enough for me.
And as I believe mañana is a Spanish word, I believe,
Yes.
if I remember correctly. If I make my
And it means
tomorrow, I
That-
think.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes. The name of the song is called Mañana.
And that means
It's a
tomorrow,
famous-
and translates from Spanish to English. It means tomorrow.
Yes, that was a famous song in the 1940s with a singer named Peggy Lee. You probably never heard of her.
I've probably never.
Well, yeah, that was 1940s.
Actually, I
so.
think it was the 1950s.
Well, no, I
That's
saw
probably
the
my
video
grand-
of
that's
her.
probably-
Well, yeah, she could have been singing in the 50s, but I mean, she's the one that introduced that song to the world, and she got a lot of heat, got a lot of trouble for doing that at the time. It was considered politically incorrect. That's silly, but that's the way it was then. But anyway, so you do a lot of stuff on YouTube these days, right? You're looking up music groups, musical acts, and singers.
And that's what I've had to go. I've been doing it about two going on 3.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years going on 3.
Yeah, that's the new technology we have here. When I was your age, they didn't hardly have any of this computer stuff that we
And
have.
the internet's quite you have to have good internet to do it, or you'll be sitting behind a computer for hours, just sitting there staring at a screen.
That's right.
And the internet does bring us wondrous things, especially with all the apps and the things that you can do on your phone.
But there's a lot of negatives, like now the bullies can attack you from home.
Well, you know, when I was your age, you know, when they had the video games, I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It was
Nintendo, like all those old.
way before all that. They had a game called Space Invaders, and all it was these little ships that looked like the Jupiter 2 on Lost in Space, and all they did was they went, you know, they slid
like
across
almost
the
like
screen really slow.
like Pac-Man.
It
Sort of
was
like,
even before Pac-Man.
like those before that. It's probably those like the beginning of
This
the
was
gaming.
the beginning of the video. Yeah, and it had 5 rows of these little spaceships that looked like the Jupiter 2 on Lost in Space, and all you had to do was just zap them, and that was too easy, you know. And then the kids got bored with it. Then they came up with the Space Invaders that were invisible. They were invisible on the screen. You can hear them coming down, and when you shoot a ship, it shows up where you're at for a split second, and then it disappears. You have to remember where it's at. But that got old too because the kids got really good at it. And now it's
That's
all
what-
fancy in 3D. But this was very basic. It didn't have any.
That's
scenery.
probably how
It was
today's
just a
game
bunch of
got
ships. It had
started.
5 rows of ships that just came down, and they just went like this. And you just had to hurry up and shoot them and zap them.
That's how the first video game probably held towards start. They started as
Well, yeah,
difficulty
it
needed
evolved.
to get it got evolved. Like
Yeah, it evolved, yeah. But, I mean, you know, the strategy was to shoot, like, the first 2, you know, going across the screen because it was 5 rows, and then do it in sets of 2s going like this, see? And you can zap them all off. And even when it was invisible, you just have to rely on your memory and just, you know, if you zap a ship, it shows up on the screen for a split second, you have to remember where it's at and try to get it. And then when it got to about 3/4 on on the bottom of the screen, it would go a little bit faster. It'd just go like this. You had to try to zap them.
I'll probably now have to go. You probably have to write these down and see if anyone.
It was just called Space Invaders. I don't even know if they have it anymore. And then
but they're probably somebody. Probably because there's a lot of things like retro gamers and stuff.
Yeah, no, this was very basic. There was no scenery in the background. It was just nothing but a screen and just a bunch of ships.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's like because that could fit into, if I remember, retro gaming. That probably fit into that category of gaming.
And if the ship landed before you zapped them all, then you lose, and the computer would turn itself off and you go to the next game. So it was so basic, so primitive. Well, okay, Sean, tell me something about you. Now, are you from Missoula?
I'm originally from Cali.
Kalispell?
California.
Oh, what part of California?
Southern.
Okay. Well, I used to do a lot of work in Los Angeles County.
And I know where that is. I'm quite familiar with that area.
When I was about your age. In fact, I got my first job in California years ago. I used to play for Loyola Marymount University. Are you familiar with that school?
Not really. Was more of the. Since I was young, I've gone down to Mexico. That's one of my family memories.
Oh, good for you. Now, you're from California. Do you have family here in Missoula?
My mom and stepdad are here.
Good. Now, what kind of hobbies do you like to do besides computer? Just computers?
Computers. YouTube is a hobby right now.
Okay.
Helping other people do their YouTube, get their YouTube start.
That's a good thing. Yeah, well, that's the current thing for people your age these days, right? The YouTube thing. That's pretty cool.
So you said something.
Makes us feel outdated.
Yes. Something you said before the show was that you were thinking of ways to make a living using YouTube. How would you do that?
I don't know how to explain it really. You can make a living doing off of YouTube.
By publicizing yourself.
But not how you make money is you allow like an advertisement, like a commercial to run in front of your video. By allowing that commercial to run in front of your video, I believe, if I remember correctly, all the logistics, that it helps you. That's what they give you revenue off.
No, that's for the young people that you're talking about, right? Like the information you're
that's what
on YouTube.
Yeah, it's based, and you can get a lot of you get yourself of haters. Or we call them in the YouTube community we call them trolls or computer warriors.
I see.
And they have caused a lot of. They are like little mosquitoes, basically.
Okay.
They are mosquitoes.
Not so little.
They are little. They turn into little pests. They're like pests. And they're not fun to deal with because I've seen it. I watch it.
What a wonderful world.
Yeah, today the world is not a very fun place on YouTube, and that's why I do not, especially with YouTube, you do not want them to know certain stuff.
Oh yeah, because YouTube isn't as bad as Facebook, but I stopped doing Facebook because I couldn't find a way to actually log off. You can log in, but you can't log off.
Well, you can now because they got a button on the right side of the screen.
Well, they didn't when I was using it.
Well, Facebook has evolved over the years.
So
you should try
the little spy bots would follow you back to your email and hack your computer.
Yeah, well, it's fancier now and more sophisticated.
That's what I use. I'm on almost every social media that there is out there.
So you have like Facebook and YouTube and
let's see.
Do you use
LinkedIn.
A virus
you have
protection?
LinkedIn too.
Antivirus protection.
I don't need that because I'm using a Mac. I'm pretty well.
So I assume you're on LinkedIn and
I'm with Facebook.
Okay.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Instagram. Snapchat, and Google. I'm with Google too.
Okay, now you're not going to the university or anything like that right now?
Nope.
Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody goes to college necessarily after high school. I went to music school for 1 year, and that was as far as I ever got. So I never actually went to college or anything like that in the traditional sense.
YouTube is a different world it's a whole different like ball game. It's you have to worry about people, you have to worry about different things. Like you have to worry about the people, like the little green men that talk.
Yeah.
Decide to talk their whole mojo or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are not the fun ones to deal with. Because I've seen YouTubers go through that whole scenario where the trolls have actually, or the little evil men, the little evil people, the trolls, evil men, the bullies, basically, of the internet. They basically have found people's addresses.
Now, do you have any hobbies outside of the computer? Like any sports or anything?
No, I like computers. That's what I like to tinker around with my computers.
This song might work for you. See if
You look like you would be athletic. You're so tall and well built. Do you do hiking or anything like that?
No. I walk a lot.
Yeah. You know the song?
Nope.
Star Trek.
Is it Star Trek?
Yes, it is.
I should know that. It's just sad. I should have known that off my top of my head.
Recognizing it now?
Not really. I listen to too many songs.
Okay.
Stuff that
We'll find something you don't like. Here's the conclusion. There you go. That's the theme to Star Trek. So, do you have any favorite television shows or anything?
Have you ever heard of Mythbusters?
No, I haven't. I'm not familiar with that. That's probably something for the younger generation.
That's something younger, and they sort of have made their way out. They have, I think, one of this. I think they're on their last season.
Did you?
Is that on a network or?
It's on like just. No, I can't even think of the name of
That's
the
a CW channel, is it?
No,
Is it a
no.
CW channel? Fox.
No.
Oh, is it a cable channel?
It's a cable channel.
Okay. Yeah, there's so many channels. You know, when I was growing up, they only had 3 channels.
Wow.
And it was ABC, CBS, and NBC at that time. And that was before Fox came out. Then when Fox came out, it was like...
And
ooh.
CNN.
Yeah, there was no CNN
and
then.
ESPN.
Well, they're all out now, so... But it's evolved, because like if you can get Charter or something like that at home, you can get like 200 channels. That's a lot. My next door neighbor has that, and like some of them are music channels. All you see is like music videos and stuff, or some of them is just the still pictures, of the artist. Like let's say you're listening to Michael Jackson, for example, and you'll just see like pictures of him when he was younger, and you hear the music in the background. It's just 24 hours a day of just music. It's like having a radio, but it's coming out of your television set. So
I'm quite familiar with all that. And then another show I'm into is Dog and Beth, the Bounty Hunter. If anyone knows,
I know who that is. That's that big scrapping fella that.
Dwayne.
I know who you're talking about.
Dwayne Chapman.
Yeah, the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that show a few times. He's always catching bad guys.
Yep, and
he goes all over the U.S. He's like this real big guy.
It's called Dog and Beth on the. I believe they're on their last. I think they've.
Is it their last season now?
I think it's. I think it is because as far as I know from Twitter.
Yeah, I've seen his show. He's huge. He's this big guy. He's like he goes all over the country looking for people. It's like Steve McQueen's Wanted Dead or Alive. That's the way to describe it. This Doug guy. He just goes,
but he's more out there now to save people.
We have the technology. So I know he helps people and I know he does a lot of good, but he catches a lot of bad guys.
It's like a family business almost. All his kids are
people who deserve to be caught.
No, he does. He catches. I've seen his show. He catches bad guys and he brings them in and stuff like that. Steve
usually
McQueen,
alive.
Yeah, usually alive. Steve McQueen had an old TV show, probably in the 1950s, called Wanted Dead or Alive, and he was like Doug, but it was a Western TV show. So, but Doug is for real though. This isn't acting. He really does catch bad guys.
I used to like to watch Ice Road Trucker.
Oh, I know that one. I'm quite familiar with that one too.
Oh, you know that one, huh?
I'm quite familiar with Ice Road Truckers. I dabble around the TV scenery.
Good for you. Now, you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do.
They live here in Missoula or are they in California?
My sister lives here, and my brother lives here. My half brother.
Okay, good. Are you the oldest of your
No,
siblings?
me and him are a year apart. We're basically. My mom had me, and then my stepdad had him from a previous relationship.
Okay, well, it's cool to have brothers and sisters. I have
So
one
you
brother
are a
and one
blended
sister.
family.
Basically, and then I have my sister, and I have my half sister.
Well, good for you.
Stepbrothers were considered stepbrothers more.
Well, what other kind of things do you like to do? Any sporting things? Any?
Nope. I just do YouTube. I just pay attention to YouTube.
And
okay,
walk.
Yeah,
And walk.
And you walk. That's good.
Have you seen any of the winter pussy willows?
Nope, I haven't seen any
No, I
of
can't
those.
say I have
And
either.
the weeds along the Patty Creek and stuff?
I just walk.
That's why I'd like to walk and see.
I've only walked along down off of the far off near that area. Is it something? Is it Christmas related?
We're talking about the willows.
The winter scene.
Yeah. So it's like is this like a Christmas theme song?
Yes.
Winter Wonderland.
I could have guessed that. It's just I'm trying to.
Well, of course.
It's I'm born in Christmas. I'm a December baby. So.
You're a December baby?
Yep.
Good for you. Good for you. So let's talk about holidays for example. I know you like YouTube and stuff, but do you have a favorite holiday?
Actually, I have a hobby. Halloween. That's a hobby for me. Halloween, doing haunted houses and stuff.
Oh, so you wait till around the Halloween time of the year to do that, huh?
That's my.
All right. Now, do you like any of the other holidays, like say 4th of July?
I'm for Halloween and Christmas are my two holidays that I like.
Well, that's good.
Or I consider Christmas more of a holiday than Halloween.
Well, yeah, Halloween's not really a holiday.
It's a
like
fun. It's
Christmas.
more of a you get to dress up and be a character.
Actually, it was
It was a day, I believe it was.
intended as an observance, a religious observance, All Saints Day, and because it didn't have any joyous, fun components, they decided to have the day before it be, getting all the bad out of you, so you could be, behave like a saint. The next day.
Did you catch that when I was playing while you were talking?
What was it?
What was it?
Mozart version.
Of what?
Winter Wonderland.
No. Mac the Knife.
I feel young.
Did you ever hear of Three Penny Opera?
Nope.
Well, it was a European musical, a stage musical, and one of the main characters in it was set in London, even though it was performed in Germany. And one of the main characters was Mac the Knife, who got away with a lot of murders, and usually out of vengeance. And it's kind of interesting.
Now, Sean, I hope you're having fun. A half hour has already gone by.
Wow.
See, I told you, this show goes by so fast.
My, how time flies with having fun.
Yeah, 30 minutes has already gone by.
Wow.
So
Time
we'll be
does fly.
Yeah, we'll be winding down here in about 20 minutes. So I just wanted to give you an idea.
You
And I wanted to thank you for being part of this show, but go ahead.
YouTube is a fun community to be in.
Yeah, I'm sure it is of people for the younger generation, people your age and so on. And you get to social network and all that sort of stuff.
And if you get big enough, you can go collab with other big YouTube channels.
Yeah. Well, I just have Facebook and just my Hotmail. Well, because I'm not into it to the degree that you are.
One thing I have an advice for, be careful what social media. Twitter is annoying at times. I'm surprised it has not gone off, or YouTube from my phone.
Well, that's okay. I mean, that's more for your generation anyway, but I at least have Hotmail, so if somebody wants to send me a message about a job or something, I can check
Yeah,
it.
and LinkedIn is pretty reliable.
I haven't gone to that one yet.
Well, it's mainly a career connection site.
Yeah.
You put your resume and your special abilities and things on. So hopefully you can get hired off of LinkedIn.
Now, do you like movies?
I've dabbled in the movies.
No, I mean movie. I'm talking about theater movies, like or like for example, I saw a movie called Tooth Fairy just about a week or two ago.
And the movies,
first
are you
time.
talking about like movie theaters and stuff?
No, I went and got the DVD, and it came out about 10 or 15 years ago, but I never saw it till just last week.
I don't do my. I just watch something catches my. Like I hear that's good from other people. I'll go download. Like one of my favorite Christmas movies is The Polar Express.
I saw that. I like that.
And I have it on my tablet. I have it.
Okay, but you don't have the DVD version of that movie.
I
do
did
you?
it one time.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's talk about this Tooth Fairy for a second. Oh, that Polar Express was a good movie. You should see it.
I will remember that.
Yeah, Polar Express. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
I think it comes around every Christmas. I think.
Yeah, they show it around Christmas time. It's sort of like a three-dimensional, kind of a cartoonish.
Santa Claus thing.
Yeah, but it centers around this kid that's on a train, if I remember, and during the Christmas holiday, and it's centered around his life. It has some pretty cool special effects. Called Polar Express. I think you really like it.
I'll try it.
Yeah, and getting back to Tooth Fairy, do you know who Dwayne Johnson is, the big athlete?
Nope.
Well, you probably wouldn't, because
Oh, is it that one?
the African American athlete. He's like a big wrestler, big pro wrestler, big guy.
I've heard of that movie. I've heard of the movie.
Well, anyway, Dwayne Johnson, he plays a hockey player in the film, and what he's doing is he's telling kids that there's no Tooth Fairy. You remember the story of the Tooth Fairy? When you lose a tooth when you're a kid, your mom puts the tooth under the pillow.
I think is it something I've heard of the. I think I've heard of the plot line. Does he turn into a tooth fairy?
Yeah. See, he gets served a summons by the
By
Tooth
big
Fairy
tooth-
land,
the big-
the
big-
big higher ups of the Tooth Fairy world, because he was going around telling kids there's no Tooth Fairy, and he was dashing their dreams. So the Tooth Fairies were watching, and the Queen Tooth Fairy, Julie Andrews, was the queen. She serves him a summons, and so they bring him into Tooth Fairy land, and for punishment, he has to work for 1 week as a Tooth Fairy to get him to believe that it's real. So that's what the movie was basically about. And he would, at first he was just being all ornery. He wouldn't conform, so they kept tacking on another week until he straightened up. So finally he decides to straighten up and be a Tooth Fairy. They gave him wings, and they gave him all the stuff that Tooth Fairies need, like a wand, and they had this thing called Cat Away. It's a little spray like this, and when the cat comes, you just spray it, and the cat will run away. Because see, he could shrink himself down, a little tiny. So when a cat comes up, it's like this big giant cat. You just have to see. It was just a cute little film.
I've heard of the movie. That's why I got the
And
base
so
idea.
yeah, at the end of the movie, he straightens up and says that being a Tooth Fairy is real. So they let him go home, and then he proposes to his girlfriend. They get married, and that's basically the movie. But throughout the movie, he was getting into situations, because when he would shrink himself, he had to get under the pillow and get the tooth and put a dollar bill under the pillow. And like sometimes kids would be asleep and they'd roll over and they'd push him off the bed, he'd fall all the way down. Or like the scene with the cat saw him and noticed him, and went, "Meow!" And he's like wanting to eat him for lunch. And he takes out this cat spray and he goes, "Eh!" And the cat runs away and gets scared. It's just a funny movie.
How big is the container of cat spray?
It's about the size of this watch. It's like really tiny. He just pulls it out of his fairy bag, his Tooth Fairy bag, and he just goes, "Ah!" like that, and then the cat can hear it, and he gets scared and runs off.
Okay, I guess that's another movie I'll have to add to my list.
Yeah, it's called Tooth Fairy. It's a really funny movie. You should see it.
I guess I'll have to add that to my list.
Yeah.
Of
With
movies.
Dwayne Johnson.
I'll have to go
Tooth
add
Fairy.
that to my list of movies to go.
Yeah,
Bye.
it was just the funniest film to me to see this big athlete, because he's like huge in real life. And he's wearing a tutu and wings, like fairy
I
wings.
think I might have seen it. They might have played it on TV only one time.
Yeah. And they had a scene, when they first brought him to Fairyland. He was being all macho and wouldn't cooperate, right? And so they said, well, we're going to have to teach you how to fly. And he was talking about, I don't want to fly. I've got a bad shoulder injury, and I probably have a bad wing. And he was just rambling on. And so the Tooth Fairies, they pull this crane, and he flies up in the air, and he's like float like this, let me down, let me down, let me down. And he still didn't want to cooperate, so they took these tennis balls, they were throwing tennis balls at him.
Probably
And
sounds
trying to
like
get him to dodge out of the way so he can learn how to fly. And he kept getting hit by the tennis balls all upside the head. chest.
Now I'm gonna have to go look it up.
It's a funny movie. You really should see it.
I'll probably have to go rent it on through iTunes.
It's called Tooth Fairy, so you should see it too. It's just the cutest little movie. It's so funny. It's almost like a Disney movie if I had to describe it.
I wonder
it's
if
just one of those family.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, it's just one of those fun family movies, and the Tooth Fairies were teaching him how to be good too, because he just kept being really nasty at first to people, mistreating people and everything. But they straightened him out at the end. And so then when he becomes friends with the Tooth Fairies, they have to strip him of his memory of ever being there. And then they send him back to the earth. And
I think they should have left me. I wonder if they left her. I'm going to have to go look at that and see what it is now.
Yeah, it's called Tooth Fairy. If you get a chance to see it, I would highly
You might
recommend
be able to
it.
take it out at the library too. Do you ever go to the library?
I don't go to the library.
Well, the movie's probably about 15 years old, but I only saw it for the first time just last week. And
this generation, they probably have it all out on.
oh yeah, it's probably on Netflix.
No,
You
it's
could
more
probably
like
see it
I can probably go look it up and see how much it is.
Yeah,
Well, you could check it out free at the library. It's the reason I was suggesting.
Well, I only paid $5 for it. It was on sale at Albertsons when
I'm gonna probably go. I'll
DVD.
probably go look and see how much it is because I believe that I don't believe in the DVD hole because my DVDs end up growing legs and wandering out of my room with
Well,
little
DVDs are getting kind of outdated by today's standards.
Even none of like the new like none of the MacBooks have. You have to go buy an external DVD drive.
And like they have what is it? Blu-ray. Blu-ray is more fancier than DVD.
It's basically an HD version of the DVD.
Yeah, and it's just so cool.
I'm quite
Well, I
familiar.
still watch my old VHSs.
Well, I have them too, but you can't compare those to DVD and especially Blu-ray. Because I was watching Planet of the
but I mean,
Apes. One of
I
my
still
neighbors
find
that used to
entertainment.
live upstairs from where I used to live, he had a Blu-ray of a movie called Planet of the Apes, the original, back in the 70s with Charlton Heston. And when I looked at it on the screen, every detail was there. Like when they show the river, you can see all the different colors in the water.
I bet they.
That's
upped
how clear
I
it
bet
was.
how they did that to get it onto an HD videos. They had it up the resolution.
Yeah, and they probably...
And Roddy McDowell.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. I mean, but it was so detailed that if you look at the water and the river scene, you can see the different multicolors in the water alone. That's how clear it was. And the sound was really enhanced. So like if you're in a spaceship, you can hear a low hum and it feels like you're in a ship for real. That's how fancy this what they did to this old 1970-ish movie.
They probably upped the resolution. I bet that's what they did for that.
Yeah, so it was more believable. And I don't know, did you ever see Planet of the Apes?
Nope.
I'm talking about the original, not the Mark Wahlberg version.
The most of kind of the oldest movie, the Jurassic Park. That's one of the movies. That's the only movie I've ever.
Jurassic Park, the original one.
My family, my grandparents, my dad's grandparents, my dad's parents was a big fan of. They had a VHS collection like you couldn't believe. My grandma's the same way.
Well, let me tell you
My
about
mom's
this Planet
grandma.
of the Apes. Of course, this goes before your time, and I don't even know if you would know who Charlton Heston is.
Nope, but
He was
probably
the
wouldn't.
main. Okay, well, he was the main character. Basically, what it was is he and two of his astronaut friends were on their way back to Earth on a mission, and something went wrong when they were going on their way back to Earth, and they sort of got propelled into the future real fast, like 2,000 or 3,000 years into the future before they landed on the Earth. So when they landed on the Earth, they thought they were on another planet, but they were really on Earth. They just didn't know that they were on Earth. And when they landed on this planet, they were on a planet of apes. You know how like humans hunt animals and they experiment on them and they have them as pets? Well, on this planet that Charlton Heston was on, it was the reverse. The apes were talking. The apes were the doctors and the scientists and the hunters and all that.
I think
and
I think that cartoon did something like I don't know what the TV show name was.
Yeah, but see, the humans were like what the animals are. The humans were.
They sort of did that. No, they sort of did that same idea.
Yeah.
for that cartoon sort of idea. They sort of did that.
Yeah, and this was before the cartoon. We're talking about the original movie that started it all.
No, I think they got an idea from that. So I think I can imagine what you're saying.
Yeah, and then there was a scene where none of the humans could talk, and Charlton Heston's character could talk. But the reason he wasn't talking is because he had gotten shot by one of the apes. So he had to wait till his vocal cords healed. So the apes thought he was mute like all the other animals, and the scientists were trying to figure out why humans couldn't talk. And finally, when Charlton Heston's voice returns, there was a scene where he was running away from the apes and they were going after him. And right when they throw the nets out and they capture him, he says, "Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!" and that's when they realized that the humans could talk, or at least he could talk. And so they weren't going to kill him because he could talk. And of course, he teams up with these two nice chimpanzees, and they end up saving the day. And that's how the series started. And then at the end of the film, he realizes that he was on Earth all the time instead of another planet. But what was interesting about this movie was how everything was reversed. The apes did everything that humans do. They go to school, they raise their kids, they have their religion, they watch TV or whatever, and they do sports. They hunt humans instead of humans hunting animals. Like, when you go out to do a buffalo hunt or something. Well, it was the reverse. And I just thought that was brilliant science fiction writing, that you could have humans on a planet where the humans are like the animals and the animals are like the humans. So I just thought that was really brilliant science fiction writing. To be careful, because what if something like that were to happen for real?
Well, it's a little bit like it's like the time travel book by what's his name? The one who created Nimoy and all of those.
Oh, Gene Roddenberry?
No.
He's the creator of Star Trek.
No, I'm talking about the writer from the 19th century who oh dear, why can't I remember his name? He had the submarine, the guy in the submarine who
Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea? You talking about that show with Richard Basehart?
No, partly that show, but the author wrote several novels that were very futuristic. And one of them was about a primitive civilization that was discovered by a modern person who realized that actually it had regressed from a better civilization.
Okay.
Because it had been taken over. And then it was mind control and all that sort of stuff.
I don't know this one.
I'm way out of the loop. It's like...
I don't have any idea. This person also, unless I'm wrong, wrote The Invisible Man.
I see.
Well, if I can't remember what they are, I can't expect you to know.
That's good.
But he was a very famous author, and he wrote very futuristic things.
Okay. Well, that sounds like Irwin Allen. He did a lot of futuristic stuff for his time.
Right, but
he's the creator of Lost in Space. I don't know if you would know Lost in Space.
This is quite ahead of my generation.
Yeah. Well, they made some remakes of some of these movies. You probably haven't seen those.
And he did 2001: Space Odyssey too, Irwin Allen. But what I'm talking about is a man who wrote in the 19th century.
Okay, I wouldn't know.
All the people you're talking about are late 20th century, so we're on a different page.
Whole different book.
2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah, you probably never saw this either.
I'm a 90.
Ta-da!
Now I gotta go. Now I gotta go do a whole bunch of catching up now. Hang out my brain.
It was something like that. Space Odyssey. Well, I guess we've given this young man some things to look up. Look up Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Hey, you're going to have to write them all down.
I can write it for you later. We're almost done with this show. It's almost time to sign off. But
maybe I should look up some things so I can remember them.
Yeah, I can, Sean, I can write them down for you. So, but see, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea was a show I used to watch when I was a little boy growing up. It was basically about this big giant submarine called the Seaview, and they would be underwater stopping spies and bad guys and, for trying to take over the world. And then eventually there were monsters that would show up on the planet, and they'd have to zap them and stuff like that. And they had another show called Lost in Space. You probably won't know this one. Basically, their mission was to go to Alpha Centauri to populate the planet because the Earth was too crowded with humans. But there was a doctor named Dr. Smith that sneaked on the ship before it took off because he was trying to sabotage the mission. And right when the doors close and the ship's going to take off, he gets trapped in the ship instead of getting out after he had sabotaged it. So the ship takes off with Dr. Smith in it and the crew. And the crew was in suspended animation, so Dr. Smith's trying to figure out how to get the ship back to Earth. And he had programmed a robot to destroy the ship 8 hours after liftoff. So when that robot gets loose, he starts destroying the ship, and Dr. Smith couldn't stop the robot, so he wakes up the crew, and that's how the series started. It's just all science fiction, just like kind of similar with,
It's way over my brain. I'm trying to figure out.
Well, yeah, I know you have to watch it. It was.
I'm probably gonna have to now go do some Googling.
Yeah, just Lost in Space. It was just.
So they ended up permanently off course.
Yeah, they were forever off course. They never made it to Alpha Centauri because Dr.
But
Smith.
they lived forever.
Oh, they went to different planets and they had different episodes with, what they were doing in space, but they never made it to Alpha Centauri in that series. All because Dr. Smith sneaked on there and tried to sabotage the mission originally.
And he was such a super character actor.
Yeah. Jonathan Harris was his name in real life. He was a really brilliant actor. I think he did, didn't he do Shakespeare and all that sort of stuff too?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, he was a very brilliant actor. But when he was on Lost in Space, he was a bad guy.
Of course, what person doesn't do a bad guy these days?
Yeah, I know. You gotta have some bad guys in there, I guess, to make it work. But see, like I mentioned, he programmed the robot to destroy the ship 8 hours. So if Dr. Smith hadn't gotten trapped in the ship when it took off, the robot would have killed everybody and nobody would have made it to Alpha Centauri. But since Dr. Smith was trapped in the ship, he didn't want to die. And he didn't want to die out in space and suffocate, that sort of thing. So that's how the series started. It was an unusual series, but it worked at the time.
It defied logic.
Yeah, it was. You'll just have to look it up. Lost in Space and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. They were both made by the same director. Irwin Allen was his name. So, and then they made some remakes, but the remakes go before your time too. So, naturally, you're not going to know them.
You make my brain even think. I'm trying.
Well, they did a remake of Lost in Space with William Hurt. I don't know if you would know him.
I do not. Then it's it's.
Well, this version of Lost in Space was really fancy, high tech compared to the television version, but even still, that goes before your time. So, because that movie's like 15 years old when you say that. I'm talking about the remake, not the series.
I didn't see the remake.
Oh, you never saw the remake?
I really wasn't even aware of it.
It was just like watching Lost in Space on, with June Lockhart. But it was just fancy, that's all. Uh-huh. The Jupiter 2 was really, really fancy.
Well, I remember June Lockhart in Lassie.
Yeah.
I watched that when I was a kid.
I used to watch that show, too. Well, my birth mom used to watch June Lockhart and Lassie.
And the show The Real McCoys.
Yeah, at least if I can remember that.
My department chair at College of Southern Nevada was named James McCoy, and he was from California. So I used to tease him about the old show.
Something like that.
That family known as the Real McCoys.
Yeah. And of course you won't know the Real McCoys either, so that goes way before your time.
I've heard of a lot of different TV shows. Like I've heard about
Gunsmoke?
9 to 5.
He's not gonna know guns. He's not gonna know
Shenandoah.
He won't know.
I don't know that, but
the Virginian.
He won't. Oh, he definitely won't know the Virginian.
Bonanza.
The oldest show that I've ever heard of is 9 to 5 that starred.
9 to 5 with Dolly Parton?
Yes, that's the only show I've
That was a movie.
Yeah, I wanted to see that. I wanted to
Oh, it was very, very good.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
it's
it
still
was.
relevant to this day, that film, the storyline of that 9 to 5.
And there was a Neil Diamond movie out at that time.
Yeah, it was what was the
American-
jazz singer, wasn't
The
it?
jazz singer.
Yeah,
Oh, that was good too.
basically this movie, Neil. Well, I don't know if you would know who Neil Diamond is, but Neil Diamond was the star of this jazz singer, and he comes from a Jewish cantor family. You know, they sing all that old-fashioned music.
Well, it's based on the life of
Yeah, and I realized that, and he wanted to be like a rock and roll singer instead of singing in the church.
Eddie Cantor.
Yeah, so he leaves his family behind against his father's wishes, and he goes out and he pursues his dream of being a singer, and he makes it. But the reason he had trouble enjoying his success is because even though he was successful, his father didn't accept it because he wasn't singing in the church. And so finally, at the end of the film, they bring his father to see his son in concert, and they kind of kiss and make up. But within that movie, it has some pretty relevant stuff of what this singer was going through as he made it.
Neil Diamond was one of a kind.
Yeah.
And he was a very wonderful person, besides having a kind of a rough side of rock and very original. A little bit like Bruce Springsteen. One of his favorite songs, one of the songs that I liked was He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother.
Oh, did Neil Diamond sang that song?
He certainly did.
I did not know that.
I did not know any of that information.
I didn't either. I did not know he sang that song.
Oh.
I like Neil Diamond. I think he's a fantastic singer. In fact, I think one of my favorite songs probably would be probably Sweet Caroline or some of those kind of songs.
I Am, I Said.
Yeah, he was just a fantastic singer. But the younger generation is probably not going to know who Neil Diamond is these days.
The only artist I know of is Dolly Parton because of her.
Who?
Dolly Parton.
Pardon?
Dolly Parton. What?
Oh,
She knows who she.
yeah, okay.
She was
Well, we all know she had that sweet angelic voice.
They just made a movie based on her life recently called Many Colors or something like that.
Yeah, Coat of Many Colors.
Coat of Many Colors, yeah.
You know,
Brand new film
It
on
was
her life.
a story. She actually had a patched coat. She was so poor.
Yeah.
I heard
Up
about
in
that.
rural
Actually,
Tennessee.
one of the songs that I have is off of that cover.
Oh, really?
Off of that cover, off of that song. Well, it had all the songs, and I chose that one. Home.
Cool.
By
And
her.
on that note, our hour's up. See how this show went by really quick? So let me make some last minute acknowledgments, and then we'll just sign off, and you just sit there, and I'll make you a copy of this show in advance.
I'd prefer it on a 21st century dry.
Well,
What?
then you'll have to ask Joel to help you with that. I don't think I'd be able to do that for you, but I'm going to post this on YouTube probably a couple hours from now anyway. So you can ask him if he can do that for you.
Because then I'll just post it.
You can download it once I post it on YouTube too.
I'll go on out. Maybe I'll ask Joel.
Yeah. Well, let's say goodbye to our TV audience here, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being part of this. And Sean, I hope you had fun.
I did.
We just wanted to make
See
you as
you real
comfortable
soon.
as possible, on this show, and talk about what the young people like, the computer world, and YouTube and stuff. And at least you knew a couple of movies and Dolly Parton. So
I'm familiar with Jolene. That's one song that I'm familiar with.
you know Jolene?
I know I have the song on my phone.
Wow, I'm impressed. I didn't even think anybody would even remember that song. Well, younger generation, I should say.
Ouch.
You're probably the only people in your generation.
No,
that know
because it's
Jolene.
because she was starred in a Disney show, Hannah Montana. She was Dolly Parks and was the godmom to
Oh, I
Hannah
did not know.
Montana.
Well, that's for the younger generation. I did not know that.
See, that's where I started doing my little bit of research.
On her because of Hannah Montana?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the research.
And, yeah. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being part of Asaph Cafe. Again, I want to introduce Sean to our TV audience, and you can probably look him up, I guess, on YouTube, or if you need to contact him here at MCAT.
You can actually, if you want, if you are in the 21st, if you were part of Twitter, you can actually tweet me at Sean Daily Vlogs.
All right, there you go.
And I'll see if maybe
SEAN.
Yeah, SEAN. Yes, and of course the lovely Linda Brooks Curtis. I am Asaph Adonai. So we'll let you take us home, but in the meantime, thank you for watching. Until our next show, ladies and gentlemen, Maranatha, and we'll let you.
Happy trails to you.
We'll let you take us home, Linda.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Let's hoping until then.
And we'll stop right there on that note.